Malcolm Roberts is the One Nation Senator for Queensland. He's on the line. Morning, Malcolm. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, Mike, and good morning to your listeners.
Now,
how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. You say One Nation has a plan to slash up to $90 billion from government spending. That'd be handy, although compared to the national debt, it would require a few of those to take care of it. But what's your plan here?
Well, it's simple. As you said, find that cash, and these are all figures that we've got from either Parliamentary Budget Office or we've got from budget line items in the federal government's own budget. So what we want to do is shrink the government to fit the Constitution, cut government spending and waste. There's a hell of a lot of waste, people know that, and also improve some revenue for multinationals. But we want to put more money, use that money in part to put more money in people's pockets. And this is not something we promise to do in 5 years or 10 years. It's now. As soon as we get into office, as soon as the new government's formed, bang, we can do it immediately. All these things can be done immediately. Put more money in people's pockets. And the other thing is to put money into the future of Australia's productive capacity, build infrastructure, so that we can put more money into our children's pockets for Australia becoming wealthy.
Okay, you're talking about pulling out of certain global organisations. Which ones do you have in mind?
Well, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, which is sort of part of the United Nations. It used to be part of the United Nations, and it still is officially, but it's funded by America until Trump came along, which is wonderful. It's no longer funded by, won't be funded by America anymore. It's funded by Germany. I think they're the two biggest countries that donate. Maybe China, but I doubt it. But also it's funded by private companies like Gates' organization. We want to get out of the United Nations Refugee Convention. Want to pull out of the World Economic Forum. I don't think we're actually in that as a member. I have to check that, but we want to stop putting its policies in place. The International Criminal Court, which John Howard signed us up to, and I think he regrets that. And any global bodies that threaten our sovereignty while adding no value to our country.
Okay, it's interesting what you say about the WEF, because a lot of people seem to think that they hold a fair bit of influence in what goes on globally and here as well.
Well, they're right. It holds a lot of sway in that, but it's decreasing in its influence because we've been exposing them, and other people, our colleagues overseas, have been exposing them. And Trump has really belted them. So has Ave Millet in Argentina, and I think Giorgia Meloni in Italy. I think she might have spoken there, but they're falling apart. But they're just a front for basically billionaires who want to get subsidies from companies and look after their own interests. But the World Economic Forum was a think tank, but now it's more than that. It's an activist organisation, and Klaus Schwab brags that some of his members have infiltrated the cabinets of Canada, for example. And we know that there have been people in this country who are in Parliament right now who have been part of the global young leaders training for the World Economic Forum. But I think their influence is waning because people are awake to them. Okay.
Now, when it comes to pensioners, you're going to change the rules there so they get to keep a bit more. And for self-funded retirees, what are the changes you're planning?
The changes are simple, Mike, in that the aged and veterans pensioners will be allowed to earn more money without penalty. They can keep their pension and they can earn money. And self-funded retirees will be able to will lift the tax-free threshold to $35,000.
Okay, the national electricity market, you've got some plans there?
Yes, I have. Before going on to that, maybe I should mention too that we've come up with a policy. It's been costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office, income splitting and a joint tax return filing for couples with dependent children.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which mean that if one parent is staying at home, you can effectively you can effectively combine the income earners salary and split it over both couples, reducing the tax they pay, providing they've got dependent children. That's significant. It's something I think that they can do in the United States. But moving on to electricity, we'll reduce electricity bills 20% by changing the national electricity market rules to prioritise stable, secure, reliable, affordable coal-fired and gas-fired power. We need to do that to protect the grid anyway. The grid is starting to fall over. But when we see what's happening at the moment, Mike, is that wind and solar are prioritised no matter what's happening. And so it's a coal, which is stable baseload power, synchronous power, inherently stable. It gets shunted, and that makes it very difficult. You can't run a coal-fired power station that way. It's meant to be stable baseload, continuous operation. So that's really hurting our maintenance of coal-fired power stations, which is reducing the reliability. And it's also increasing the costs, and it's shortening the life of these plants. So what we want to do is prioritise the coal-fired power stations, change the national electricity market rules to do that. Many people don't realise that this is quite often one of the impediments to coal. It's not only the subsidies to solar and wind, it's the impediments in the rules of the national electricity market. The national electricity market, to be frank, Mike, is a national electricity racket. It's not a bloody market. It's a complete racket. It's a bureaucratic jumble of rules that is causing the grid to fall over. And by the way, reducing electricity prices is significant because electricity is an input cost to the entire economy, especially food and groceries.
Yeah.
But it's also the key to global competitiveness. We've gone from, in the last 20 years, 30 years really, but 20 years especially, we've gone from being the lowest cost electricity in the world, the lowest price electricity in the world, to amongst the highest. And our cost now is 3 times that of coal-fired power stations in China because of all the subsidies from solar and wind that we put on here and increase electricity prices. And ironically, it's the Chinese who are using coal, hydro and nuclear mainly. Tiny little bit of electricity comes from solar and wind, but the majority comes from coal and hydro and nuclear. And so the Chinese are shipping us their bloody solar panels and wind turbines, destroying our electricity sector with that. But it's important to mention that all this is being done, it's basically suicide to our economy by the Liberal and Labor parties.
You're talking about plans to make Medicare more affordable. There's a lot of talk about that. What's your intent there?
Yes, a lot of doctors are going off bulk billing. So what we want to do is to increase the Medicare rebate to promote bulk billing. And we also want to crack down on Medicare fraud because there's as much as $3 billion for fraudulent doctors per year, while total fraud from patients and doctors is more likely around about $5 billion.
Now, you say that you're going to save $30 billion a year by abolishing the Department of Climate Change and related agencies. That'll get you some objection from, say, the Greens, but I think a lot of people these days would think it was a very good idea.
Well, it's certainly people around the world are waking up. Argentina, America, Asian countries, China, India. You know, some of them are saying we will pay lip service to solar and wind, but we'll stick with coal and hydro and nuclear. Look, Mike, these countries are still engaged in developing, and they know the secret to our success in development was coal-fired power and supplemented by gas here and there and nuclear and hydro. They know that. They're saying we want the same. And so China is saying we will think about cutting back on coal around about 2050. We'll let you know. But abolishing the Department of Climate Change and related agencies, regulations, programs, schemes, it's $30 billion plus, Mike, because this is not I've got some figures here. This is not just abolishing one department. It's abolishing all the grants and subsidies and parasitic investments that go along. The government's currently investing over $65 billion in the capacity investment scheme, Rewiring Australia, Powering Australia plan. It's all rubbish. It's adding additional cost, billions of cost for no benefit, and in fact, it's destroying our electricity sector. The Future Made in Australia Innovation Fund, that's washing or wasting $1.7 billion. The Renewable Hydrogen Program, which is now blowing up all over the world, is $19.7 billion over 10 years. Clean Energy Finance Corporation, dishing out $19 billion of low-cost finance for rewiring the nation. And the estimated total cost of this so-called net zero transition, Bloomberg's, who've got some credibility, they estimate Australia will cost $1.9 trillion. $1.9 trillion. We've had an independent assessment from 3 universities that estimate it'll be 1.5 trillion, Mike. So what we're getting is a destruction of our electricity sector, and we're paying through the nose for it. But there are so many other consumer energy resources, Energy Made Easy website, production tax incentive, hydrogen Head Start program. You can go on. It's just bloody ridiculous for no benefit.
Indeed. Malcolm, thanks for that. No doubt we'll hear more about this in the days to come.
Yes, look forward to talking with you anytime, Mike.
Thanks, Malcolm. Malcolm Roberts, One Nation Senator for Queensland.